Today, I'm talking to reading tutors. That's right. See, you became a tutor to help kids learn to read, not to question everything you're doing, stress over the economy, or feel like AI is taking your job. But here we are. It's 2025 and tutoring looks different. The world looks different. And if you're feeling anxious, uncertain, or overwhelmed by all the changes, it makes sense. You're not alone. So I have gathered 7 biggest fears that I hear from reading tutors over and over again. And these aren't random. They're the quiet fears that keep you up at night, the ones that you think everyone else has figured out. And what we're going to do today is we're going to call them out. We're going to reframe them with clarity, and then I'm going to give you a strategy to move forward. So let's stop letting these fears call the shots and start building a tutoring business that works in this new world. All right, I'm just going to name out what are all of these fears that we're talking about. My first one is I'm scared I'm not teaching reading the right way. Second, parents expect miracles. What if they don't see progress? Next up, I didn't learn the science of reading in college. Am I doing a disservice to my students? Kids are more distracted now. Is it even possible to teach reading online? I don't understand AI. It feels like a black hole. I'm scared I won't find students in this economy. What if I invest in my business and I don't make the money back? I'm scared I'm not teaching reading the right way. So let's take a look and dive deeper into each of these. All right, so the first one that is on up. We're going to talk about the fear that almost every reading tutor has had at some point, even if we don't say it out loud, okay? I'm scared I'm not teaching reading the right way. And if you've ever had this thought and it's popped up into your head, you are so not alone. Maybe you've heard about the science of reading and you're like, wait, have I been doing it wrong? Or other tutors, they're posting all these structured literacy terms, and you start second guessing yourself. Or maybe you're a seasoned tutor who's been getting great results, but now you're feeling the pressure to do things differently because of what you're seeing online. Here's what I want you to hear today. Good tutors evolve. You're not falling behind, you're becoming more aware. And being nervous that you're not doing it right, that just means that you care. And that's a good sign. But we also have to remember this. There is no one size fits all when it comes to reading instruction, right? What works for one kid might not work for another. And that's why we individualize. And that's also why it's so helpful to have tools that support us, not replace us, but help us think through maybe our options faster. This is where I use AI. I use AI inside of my lessons. So if I want to be able to have a kid practice certain vocabulary words, I can actually go on into my ChatGPT and I can begin typing on in what those vocabulary words are, how I want them to be presented in a certain text, at what grade level I would like that text to be written. And I can help have this child even help me with creating who the characters are, what's the problem, what's the solution, all of those pieces. I can have them be part of the creation process, and then I can have them read a passage that they feel like they helped create and they're excited to read. It's really a lot of fun. You can even do this with decodable text if that's what you want to be able to do, right? If you have a specific skill that you're looking to focus on and you want kids to read lots of words with a shun pattern in it so they can be more comfortable with it, you can absolutely do that as well. And you can have it within seconds. So if this fear has been sitting in your chest that maybe you're not teaching reading the right way, here is your permission to breathe, because you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up. You just have to stay curious and find those tools that help you do what you already do with more ease and confidence. And if you want help figuring out how to personalize your lessons faster so that your kids and your students can be able to get results even faster, drop a comment. I'm actually going to leave a link to my Reading Interventionist course, which is opening on up. And I'm going to be sharing all of the latest details on how I teach reading today and what it looks like inside of that new course. So if you've even taken the course before, you're welcome to join again and get a sneak peek at what are some of the new things that I'm doing now that online has evolved over the years. I want you to know really honestly that you've got this and you're probably doing more right than you even know. Now, that second fear is that parents expect miracles. What if they don't see progress? Let's be real. One of the hardest parts of being a tutor isn't just teaching the student, right? It's handling sometimes the pressure behind the scenes. What if the parent does expect miracles? What if they don't see progress fast enough? What if they think that you're not doing a good enough job? If you've ever had those thoughts, we've all had them. I don't want you to think that you're the only one that is having them. So, what I want you to know is that if they don't see progress, what's important is what are they seeing them do during the sessions? Are they seeing the child actually taking part in reading? Are they reading texts that are at and designed at their level so that they can make the greatest progress? When hear their kids reading during the session, that is enough for them to know that their kid is making progress. Okay. So know that when you put these kids in just right text, whether you create that text with AI, you use reading tools like Rad's Kids, Reading A to Z, all of those kinds of things, you're doing the right things. Getting kids engaged in reading the right materials is what's going to help them make greater gains when it comes to their reading progress. And sometimes parents don't always know what's realistic. You want to make sure that you set that up in the beginning sales conversation that you have with them. What do you think is possible based on the information that you have so far? What do you think are the kinds of results that you can get? And if you don't know the results, track them with the current students that you have so that you have language that you can use to share with the parents the types of results that you can get. Because ultimately, a parent is buying results. When they purchase your services, they are purchasing results. They want their child to be able to read fluently. Now, can you give them an idea of how long do you think that will take? If you don't know, track your data. This is where giving the right assessments, tracking that information, and knowing the types of results that you can get will be really helpful. Another way to know how to get the results that parents are looking for is take a look at your current testimonials. You can put those testimonials right inside of ChatGPT and say, can you share with me the types of results that my students are getting? Because this is going to come from the language of those parents, right? What are the results that your students are getting that parents are appreciating? Sometimes this extra little way of being able to think about it is going to give you now the language that you need to share those results. So if you want your child to be able to blank and you want your child to be able to blank, working together is going to be a good fit. You can have that conversation now in a sales conversation and also base it off of what is it that they're looking for. Listen to them as they are talking. Don't just sit there and think, oh my gosh, I have to sell each parent exactly the same way. Just like no student learns exactly the same way, no parent is going to see the exact same things as what's most important to them. And that's why lots of us have job security, right? Because when we know what those results are and we can share them with people, you will continue to be in business for a long time to come. So know that a lot of parents are not looking for a miracle worker who can make a difference in one session. They're looking for someone that their child can connect with, does have the ability to get results for their child and has the testimonials to back that up, and is ready to help them in all this way. I think this is a really important stuff. And know that you don't have to be a miracle worker, but you do have to be professional. And professionals have systems. So you don't have to carry all the weight. You don't have to prove your worth in every single session. Think about how can I communicate clearly and document thoroughly and use the tools that are going to help me save time and let your brilliance shine. Because that's what parents really want. Someone who shows up, who has a plan, and who truly sees their child. And that's you. The third One is, I didn't learn the science of reading in college. Am I doing a disservice to my students? This one's for all the tutors and teachers who've ever had this thought. I didn't learn it in college, and am I doing a disservice to my students? First of all, again, pause, breathe. You're not alone. And I'm going to say this right now. The fact that you're even asking this question tells me everything that I need to know about the kind of educator that you are. So many of us, we come out of college with education degrees, but very little practical training on how kids actually learn to read. And the science of reading has been around for a while, but the awareness around it, that's new. So if you didn't learn it in college, it's not your fault, but that doesn't mean that you're stuck, right? You're not behind, you're aware. And the real disservice wouldn't be missing the training in college. The real disservice would be refusing to grow now. And clearly, you're doing that. You're here, you're reflecting, you're learning. And that is what great teachers and tutors do. So I want you to think about how you can learn, apply, and reflect. You can still be an incredible reading tutor, even if you're just now diving into the science of reading. And the key is learning how to identify the root cause of a student's reading struggles, know which skills to focus on and in what order, and then track progress in a way that's actually helpful and not overwhelming. And that's exactly why I created my Reading Interventionist course. It's designed for tutors like you, people who care, people who feel unsure, and who want clear guidance on how to teach reading based on what actually works. And inside the program, I walk you through the key components of effective reading instruction based off of the research, how to assess where a student is at, and how to close that gap in the shortest amount of time possible without guessing and without second guessing yourself. And here's the thing, that is a result that parents are looking for. They're not always looking for that it is a fun session for their child. They are looking for, are you putting the right activities in place that are going to make the greatest gains in the least amount of time? And I just want you to know that if you didn't learn the science of reading in college, it's not your fault. What is in your control, though, is what you choose to do next. And if you're willing to grow and you're willing to get the right tools, then no, you are not doing a disservice to your students. You're becoming the tutor that they absolutely need. You don't need to know everything, you just need the right support. Number 4, kids are more distracted now. Is it even possible to teach reading online? All right, let's talk about something that almost every tutor has thought at some point, right? Especially if you've worked with kids in Pencil Spaces or Zoom or any online platform, right? Kids are just so distracted now. Is it even possible to teach reading online? I get it. You've got notifications popping up, kids spinning in their chairs or staring at their water bottles. I've seen it too. Online reading tutoring doesn't work because kids can't focus. It can be easy to jump to the conclusion that online means disconnected, that it's just not as engaging or as effective as in person. But here's the truth, it's not that reading can't be taught online, it's that we've got to teach it differently online. So distraction isn't new. Just our delivery needs to evolve, right? Distraction isn't new. Kids have always had ants in their pants, but online tutoring forces us to be more intentional, more interactive, and way more student centered. And when done right, teaching reading online is not only possible, but it can be incredibly effective. Engagement comes from structure, personalization, and quick wins. So here's what makes online reading tutoring work. You want to have short, structured lessons that keep that pace moving. You go from activity to activity. You also have a template of what activities am I going to do for this child based on what are the things that they need to work on. And so you have that all set up inside of your system. If you're looking for a template of what I use inside of Pencil Spaces, feel free to click on the video that I'm going to add at the end so that you can check that out and see how do I create a template so that we move from one part of the lesson to the next part of the lesson to the next part of the lesson. Kids know what to expect and what we're going to focus on. I also use student interest to build out some of my activities, and you can use AI to help you with this. But I actually am building right now a Lego font. I have one of my kids is really into Legos, and so I am creating a specialized font just for him. But I know that my other students are going to love this font as well, and having a clear plan as well. So you're not winging it, right? When their attention starts to drift. You want to have a clear plan of where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Now, will tech happen sometimes? Absolutely. It does. And I just ask the kids to be patient when that happens, and then we move on. We can use AI to personalize things and to re-engage our students when maybe they're getting bored with an activity that they're doing. I also am paying attention to like how do they respond to this activity. I had one student who absolutely hated reading decodable texts. Just he hated it. And I was like, yeah, some of these texts are boring. I use uFly for some of the phonics stuff, and I'm like, yeah, these passages are long and they're boring and they are not fun. So how can I make it more fun for this kid? He kept asking, can you put me in real books? And I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, sometimes you just have to listen to your student. Science of reading might say that putting kids in decodable books up to a certain point is going to be the best way to teach kids how to read. This kid loved being in guided reading books. So why not put him in those books that he loves reading? He totally lights up when he sees those books, when he sees the images, when he sees the pictures, when he's reading the words, when he can feel like a reader. So why not continue in that momentum for that child, right? This is about making reading fun and engaging for the student who's in front of you. So I think it's really important to really think about how can we engage our students with the activities that are going to catch their attention, but also help them work on the skills that they need to develop. Yes, kids can be distracted. So can adults, right? That's not the problem. Here's the thing. We live in a distracted world, but kids still crave connection. They crave challenge and they crave fun. So if we can give them that, they show up. It doesn't even matter that we're online. So yes, online reading tutoring works. And with the right tools and the right mindset, you're not only going to keep them engaged, you're going to help them grow in ways that surprise even their parents. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do inside of the Reading Interventionist course is I show people how to build the sessions that kids actually look forward to. And it doesn't involve magic. It just knows what does the research say are the best ways to be able to teach kids reading, and how can I be able to put that into practice? I know some of you are thinking already, I don't understand AI. It feels like a black hole. So let's talk about this, right? If you're feeling like this and you feel like you're just supposed to magically dive into it, everybody's talking about ChatGPT, tech tools, prompts, automation. It can feel like you are already behind before you've ever even logged in. And honestly, that feeling is so valid. AI seems like this thing for coders sometimes and tech pros, right? Not reading tutors that are trying to help a child blend words and create like CVC words. But here's the truth. You don't need to understand everything about AI. You just need to know how to use it to make your life easier. AI isn't a black hole. It's a toolbox. And you're not falling behind because you don't have or know all of the features. The goal isn't to master the tech. It's to let the tech support you. So I want you to think of AI like that super organized teacher down the hall who already has the perfect reading passage or that perfect email for a parent or the comprehension questions that align for the different passages or even content that we create online, right? Except now, that person is sitting on your laptop ready when you are. So I want you to start small and make it personal. And here's how I recommend getting started with AI. First, start thinking about what are the things that take you the longest amount of time in order to do. Maybe it is sitting down and writing emails. Maybe it's sitting down and writing out your assessment information. I can actually make a template inside of AI with my assessment information and then update it for the specific student that I have and ask it to include that information in a new draft for that student. Now, that is going to save me a ton of time. I can ask it to create a decodable passage for a student, or I can ask it to create a regular story for a student at a certain reading level. I can think about how can I have it help me with creating content. Now, I do not suggest that you just type on in, write a blog post about blank, okay? Yes, it's going to give you information, but those aren't your thoughts or your ideas, right? And what sells is you and your ideas. So, in the Insider Secrets Club 3.0, what I teach how to do is how do you actually set up these blog posts that have your voice, have your thoughts, and not AI's voice, right? And I've created a chat GPT that we utilize inside of the Insider Secrets Club to create content that converts into students. We're not just creating content for the heck of creating content. We're creating content so we're creating an online presence so that we can get found. And I'll put a link if you're interested in learning more about the Insider Secrets Club and how you can join us inside of there. Because here's the thing, you don't have to be techie to get AI. You just have to ask it, the way, same thing that you would ask a friend. People think that they have to be these prompt, have to be an expert in the prompt. No, you have to be an expert in clearly explaining what you want it to do. And when you learn how to do that, you're going to get AI to be able to do a whole bunch for you. And I think that's what the most important thing is. AI tools can help you feel actually less that you have to be techie, and you can do things that are actually fun. Because when you stop fighting the tools and start using them strategically, you stop feeling overwhelmed and you start getting your evenings back. So if AI feels like a black hole right now, that's okay. You're not behind. You're just at the beginning, and the beginnings are where the best learnings happen. All right, next one up. I'm scared I won't find students in this economy. Lots of things happening in our economy right now. If you watch the news, you just might be like, what the heck is happening with these tariffs around the country, around the world? Are people going to stop spending money? The stock market is crashing right now. And if you're a tutor right now thinking, what if I can't find students in this economy because people don't want to spend money on it right now because they have to pay for food and food is increasing in price? I hear you. Prices are going up. Everyone is talking about inflation. Everyone is talking about a possible recession. And when families are stressed about money, it's easy to think tutoring might be the first thing to cut. But what I want to show you today is that tutoring isn't going away. It's shifting. And there's so much opportunity if you know how to position yourself. Will parents still pay? That fear is real. Will families still invest in reading help when, gas and groceries and rent are all more expensive? Here's what I want you to remember. When kids are struggling to read, families don't just hope things that get better. They go looking for someone who can help. In hard times, parents want solutions that give their kids confidence, independence, and a better future. You're not just selling tutoring. You're selling peace of mind. And when you position yourself as a trusted reading expert, someone who can clearly explain what the child needs and exactly how you can help, they're not just paying for sessions. They're investing in that peace of mind. They're investing in clarity. They're investing in confidence and progress, especially when schools right now feel so chaotic. They're hearing 40% of our kids can't even read at a basic level. So our goal is to get found, show value, and build trust. So how do you attract those families, even in this uncertain economy? You want to be visible online. You can use content to answer questions that parents are already Googling. You can show your process, let people know how you identify gaps and track progress. You can tell stories, share mini case studies of students that you've helped without names or with names or whatever you want to do, right? Use AI tools to help save time with writing content, making lesson plans, and showing up consistently without burning out. And most importantly, focus on serving, not selling. The students will come. And if you're not sure how to actually get visible or explain the value of what I'm doing in a way that gets parents to say yes, I cover that inside of our Insiders Secrets Club 3.0. You'll learn how to attract students without spending all day on social media and how to position your tutoring as a solution that parents are already searching for. So yes, the economy feels shaky, but families haven't stopped caring about reading. If anything, they're looking harder than ever for someone that they can trust. So let that someone be you. There's still room, there's still need. And yes, there are still parents out there ready to say yes to what you offer. You're not too late. In fact, you're right on time. Now, this last one. What if I invest in my business and I don't make money back? Because I've mentioned the Reading Interventionist course, I've mentioned the Insider Secrets Club, and I really want to talk about here one of the scariest questions that tutors ask themselves when they're thinking about taking their business seriously. What if I invest and I don't make the money back? You finally find a course, a coaching program, a website platform, whatever it is, and then you pause with that sinking feeling in your stomach. What if this doesn't work? And I've been there more than once. What if I waste my time and money? And this fear is so real because tutoring income often starts small. And when you're in that early stage, every dollar does matter. You start calculating how many sessions do you need in order to make your money back. And if you've ever signed up for something before and didn't finish it, that doubt creeps in even stronger. Investments aren't just about ROI, they're about capability, right? Here's what I've learned. Smart business investments, they aren't just about getting your money back. They're about building the systems, the skills, and the confidence that make future money easier to earn. You're not just buying a thing, you're buying a shortcut, a proven process, a way to stop spinning your wheels and start making decisions that move you forward faster. So you want to make sure that you choose investments that teach you how to earn consistently. And the question is, will I get my money back in a week? It's, will this help me build something that keeps paying me over time? Right? Because I'm not going to get it back in a week. I might not even get it back in 3 months, but I will make my money back over time. Because when you invest in learning how to attract the right clients, create the right systems, and deliver amazing results, it's not a one-time win. It becomes a repeatable skill set. And this is exactly why I built programs like the Reading Interventionist, the Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring Business Masterclass, and the Insider Secrets Club 3.0, because I've seen too many tutors sitting on gold, skills, passion, experience, without a roadmap to turn it into a consistent income. So inside of my programs, I teach you how to attract students, how to create systems that save you time and stress, and build a business that's actually profitable and sustainable. This is not gambling, right? You're building. So if you're standing on the edge and wondering, what if I don't make my money back? Try asking a better question. What if this is the thing that finally helps me grow in a way that doesn't rely on guessing, burnout, or luck? We would love to have you. If investments feel scary, but you're staying stuck, that costs way more in the long run. We'd love to have you join us, whether you want to learn how to teach reading more, you want to set up those systems for your business, Jumpstart will be perfect, or if you are looking for how to attract those clients online, then you want to join us in the Insider Secrets Club. And if you saw any of these fears in yourself, I want you to please know this. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're simply in the middle of a shift and asking the exact questions that show you care enough to grow. The tutors who succeed in 2025, they aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who stay curious, get support, and take small steps forward. So, what is the next best step that you can take? Is it learning how to personalize your instruction, getting systems in place that make you more visible? Is it finally embracing the tools that are going to make your work lighter? Whatever it is, you don't have to do it alone. If you're ready to grow with confidence, your income, and your impact as a reading tutor, I would love to support you. Let's build something that lasts together because you know what? You've got this.